This video contains subject matter that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are the type to require a warning throughout a video or show, let this message serve as your warning. This channel discusses the harsh reality of true crime. If this warning is not sufficient for you, consider a different genre and unsubscribe from my channel immediately.
Hello? Anybody there? When I'm in the mood, I sprinkle troll on my food, but I don't eat it. I chew it up and spit it out in the feeder. It's not a treat, the troll is beat. Just one of the ways that I defeat it. Staying in my groove. When there's a troll on the move, just takes a second to remove. Cause every time I conclude, the troll is gonna lose. Nice try, lizard eye, I see you creeping on the sly. Why you think you so fly, when you're just a whiny cry. Battle me, you're gonna fry. Gonna send you out to mummify. There you go, see? Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that.
Hey, thanks, Mag. I don't know if that'll come on, but I was actually, I put a new, what do you call it? A new emoji for the 20. So I didn't see it though. I think I didn't have it turned on. Ah, that sucks. Yeah, Mary Lou sang that before Trace Elements. Better than that. It was a little off on the timing, but it works pretty good for that, though. Yeah. So, anyways, I'm going to put it back on that, the Freaks Wearing thing, so you guys can do all your hellos and whatnot. Thank you very much, Mag. Oui, oui. Thank you very much. Yeah, the Blazers won, man. What a crazy game that was. I think it's almost close to the most three-pointers made by two teams in a game. It was just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It was crazy. We were down 21 points. And then we cut it to 3. And, then we came out in the third quarter and then got down by 19 points. And then cut it to 6, and then we got down by 11 again, and then we got up. Then we actually ended up being up by 6, and then boom, we won. Pretty crazy, right? Pretty crazy. Anyways, I think I put the a GIF of me going as for the $20 one. I was thinking that was going to pop up, but I think I didn't get back in time, unfortunately. Man. Yeah, that was a crazy one. Wow. Unbelievable. Outscored him by 11 in the fourth. Yeah. Unbelievable game. We scored in the 30s every single quarter. Yeah, but apparently, I think the GIF is set up, though. It should work that way. So, if anybody feels like, doing the 20, you'll be the first one to be able to see. Man, when I watched that thing, after I made the first, then I was being goofy with the, but the thing is it did make me startled where I went, like that. I didn't scream, though, like Jennifer said. It was more of a, like that. But you know what? You just got to roll with it, right? I mean, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Oh, God. Okay, let's see. Is it going to do it? If it doesn't do it, and I get thrown in jail, don't take it out on me. Just next time I get thrown in jail, don't worry about it. You're always so kind anyway. Come on. Where is it? I've got it open. Streamlabs. Oh, there it is. There it is. Yeah, you got it.
Gotta see it.
That's funny. Now, so I didn't change the music yet, but... Well, thanks, Mag. There you go. See? It was on there again. Yeah, maybe I'll change the music. Maybe I'll even put my own voice going, Nah, that'd be stupid. It would probably scare me just doing that. Oops, I can already tell that wasn't going to work. Hey, but at least Trace Elements was here to hear her rap that she wrote. Haven't seen her for a while. All right. Okay, I'm going to do a couple of these sort of not cold cases first. Let's see. What's this one? Oh yeah, remember that girl that was missing in Oregon? Or not missing in Oregon, but found at that, I don't know what it was. Kind of like a It seemed like it was southern Oregon coastal area, where her body was found at the rest area. So it says police have ruled out some missing children in the investigation to identify a girl found near a rest area in Lincoln County. The child's body was discovered December 10th at H.B. Van Duzer Forest State Scenic Corridor. Due to the condition of the remains, police believe the girl had likely been dead for at least 30 days before being found. Now I want to know, was it sort of not easily seen? Because the way it was described, it was just kind of just sitting there. So, then it's like, well, wow, somebody moved her body at some point. Oregon State Police released a sketch previously. That was this image that you see right there. Let's see. Investigators believe she was between 6.5 to 10 years old, 3 feet 10 to 4 feet 6. Her race or ethnic origin has yet to be determined as investigators await completion of DNA analysis. Well, that's what I was saying they're going to need. But they ruled out these individuals right here. I mean, it's kind of sad that there's a whole bunch more. I mean, there's 2 from Portland here. Addison Gibson, Noelle Johnson, Naya Bilinga from Pendleton, Oregon. So, anyways, not really much of an update, but just that they're still trying to determine even who she is. It seems just so bizarre to me when you get these does when they're that age. You think the parents would just be blasting everybody everywhere, and they'd say, "Oh yeah, well it's possible we just found her," something. All right, here's this really whacked out story. Look at this one. DFCS documents show case history of 12-year-old Caitlyn Yozviak. I mean, she actually died from severe head lice because the parents were so freaking negligent. Listen to this.
We have new information on the death of a Wilkinson County 12-year-old. We've been reporting on the case of Caitlyn Yozviak. Caitlyn's mother, Katie Horton, called Ivy Police on Wednesday, August 27th, about her daughter being unresponsive. Caitlyn later died at a hospital. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation started investigating that day and arrested Horton within roughly 24 hours. They charged Horton with murder and child cruelty, saying Caitlyn was subjected to, quote, excessive physical pain due to medical negligence. The next Tuesday, they arrested Caitlyn's father, Joey Yozviak, on the same charges. As we told you, the GBI says the family has a history with the state's Division of Family and Children's Services, also known as DFACS. Ashlyn Webb obtained a copy of Caitlyn Yozviak's file with the agency and spoke to the head of Georgia DFACS about the family's history in our top story tonight.
Documents we've obtained from DFACS show Yozviak's family history dates back years. Even before Caitlyn was born, they say 2 brothers were taken from
the... And this is actually September... That was September 28, 2020. Let me see what this one is. Hold on a second. I'll go back to that in a second. But yeah, this is today, this part. Parents of girl 12 who died after severe head lice infestation. Bailed out, I guess. The parents of a girl who died following a severe head lice infestation have been bailed on murder and child cruelty charges. Details have emerged of the horrifying death of 12-year-old girl who was savaged by head lice infestation so severe it triggered a heart attack. Jesus. Man, what a freaking... Look at these people. I wish somebody would just take a bat, and, let maybe some family members go to town. These people are just, sick monsters, Parents of Caitlyn Yozviak, 12, from Macon in Georgia, have been charged with murder, but were bailed on today. Does that mean out, like bailed out? Just bailed on? I don't know if is that really the right term? Mary Catherine, Katie Horton, and John Joseph Joey Yozviak were each granted a $100,000 bail. Oh, so they were given bail, but maybe they weren't. Josviak and Horton are both charged with child cruelty and second-degree murder. I think that's ludicrous, I mean, it seems like if you're a parent and you know that, I don't know who wrote this. If you're a parent and, you see that your kid's head's covered with lice, it's kind of like first-degree murder because you know what you're doing at that point. You're just like, yeah, screw it, man. It's a little bit more than second degree. Investigators said in September that Caitlyn may have died as an indirect result of severe lice infestation that may have gone on for years. Georgia Bureau of Investigation Special Agent Ryan Hilton testified that medical records show that Caitlyn died from cardiac arrest with a secondary cause being severe anemia. So that means like the lice were probably like, taking her blood. Mr. Hilton testified that at the time of her death, Caitlyn had the most severe lice infestation the GBI office had ever seen, and it may have lasted on and off for at least 3 years. And look, that's a teacher, I think. Yeah, teacher Courtney Williams in 2016. So look at her. She just seemed like such a nice kid. My teacher is tops. Man, that's brutal. He said he believed repeated lice bites lowered her blood iron levels, causing anemia. So I guess that's how that happened. And triggering the cardiac attack. The youngster had not bathed for a week before she was killed and was forced to live in a filthy room with rats swarming over her mattress, stuffed animals, and furniture. Experts said her condition was so horrific she would have been left living in constant agony. Georgia Davidson of Child Services documents show that Caitlyn's 2 brothers were removed from the family home because of unsanitary conditions. Neighbors told agents they hadn't seen Caitlyn playing around the house for up to 2 months before her death. So they just kind of kept her in there. And in 2008, around the time Caitlyn was born, DFCS opened another case after parents decided not to give her up for adoption. God, why didn't they just let her go? God. They decide, well, we're not going to give her up for adoption. What we'd rather do is torture her to death. I mean, see, I don't understand the second-degree murder charge. I would give these people life without parole, just mandatory. They're freaking monsters. I mean, why should they even have a chance to get out at some point? Well, Gray, I mean, they are the kids' parents. They know the best. Assistant District Attorney Brent Cochran told WAMZ-TV that prosecutors are still awaiting autopsy results and medical tests on Caitlyn. Mr. Cochran could not say when he expects an autopsy result. Wow, that just really, man. Kind of reminds, sort of like the Hart family on almost like on steroids. It's like, really? I mean, wow. I'm not even going to play that other clip because it was actually before this information. Well, no, they should just be put in jail for the rest of their life, and they won't be having any kids. They don't need to be rendered any, you know what I mean? Just don't let them out. I wouldn't even, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know why they don't get the death penalty when other... Okay, so for example, there was a federal case, where this lady was executed just recently. There was a lady that was 8 months pregnant. She strangled that person to death, cut her baby out. Obviously must have crossed state lines. That's why it was federal, and she was just executed, right? I'm all for those types of executions, okay? This is one where, why can't there be the death penalty in this one, okay? Why can't there be the death penalty in a case like this? This one's even worse in a way. You know, it's just... I mean, there was absolute suffering for months and months, and then she dies. Yeah, put them in a vat of lice. You know, put like 100 million lice in a room and stick them in there for 2 months. See what happens. I don't know. I just feel like some of these people, these people right here, are beyond sort of redemption. Okay, there isn't any redemption for them. I mean, really? You're going to put somebody in a room? I mean, if she was at home for 2 months with just lice going on, and then she dies from having so much lice that she became anemic. You know, I don't even want to know what the process of that is. You must have to get bitten about a billion times or something. Anyways, hope I don't sound too mean.
Gray, you sound so mean.
Well, I thought he was being pretty reasonable.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay.
So why'd you sound like that?
I just took an opportunity.
Oh, my God. See, that just proves that Mary Lou absolutely, you know, isn't real. Ah, man, what a just... How does anybody give him any... I mean, second-degree murder. Does that make any sense to anybody? Oh, it was just, you know, heat of passion. I mean, we saw the lice, you know, all over her body for months, but, you know, we didn't think it would do anything. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. They may not have given her a bath ever, and they just didn't, you know, like she wasn't able to take a bath and clear away some fleas, or, you know, that doesn't really help that much. I mean, it gets rid of the stragglers, right? But there's pretty hard to get fleas out. You got to use those, or lice. I mean, you got to use those combs and weird shit like that because they lay eggs. I used to have to do that when we were at this camp that we were at. When I was a kid, it would be like this 3-week camp that all these kids were around, and sometimes some kid would end up with lice. Because when you're, see, on this camp that we used to go to, it was 3 weeks, and you'd have cabins and everything. But even when you had cabins, you would then sometimes pack up and then go out in the wilderness and literally camp, and then come back, you know, a few days later to the actual camp itself. Yeah, I mean, what mitigating circumstances could there possibly be when they were given the opportunity to allow their kid to be adopted? They chose not to, only to have her horrendously suffer and dying from lice infestation. That's absolutely disgusting. Law and order. Law and order. Okay, I'm going to move on now to this other case here. This one is a Jane Doe case. I went back and found the original articles. You know, they actually, you know, this is unfortunately they use the words that we don't use anymore, so I won't read them, okay? But they're on the screen because I'm reading the article, but you know, authorities today probed the death of a black girl whose body was found in a field near Grand Valley State College. A preliminary autopsy report, and what was interesting is they covered this pretty, you know, a decent amount for an unidentified person. A preliminary autopsy report indicated the girl was about 16 to 20 years old and had been dead for 3 to 7 days. Sheriff Bernard Greisen said foul play was suspected. He said the girl's body was partially clothed and appeared to have suffered head injuries. An autopsy was ordered. The body was discovered Friday morning. Let me turn this down a little bit. I can tell it's... That wasn't that bad. Body was discovered Friday morning by 2 young hunters. This is 1967. That's why they were using those words that are not acceptable. It was found in Allentown Ship, about 10 miles west of Grand Rapids. Grayson said it appeared no attempts had been made to bury the body. That was on January 21st, and then way later in the year, okay, I don't know if this is the same. I don't know if I'm accidentally putting the date. Let me go back to that last one really quick. The date. Oh, it's October. Okay. It's October 1967. I had that one written down as January. That's why it didn't look right. All right. Sheriff Bernard Grayson said the body was lying on top of the ground just inside the woods. He said there were visible head injuries and definite signs of foul play. The woman had been murdered, he said. Grayson notified the State Police Crime Lab in Lansing immediately, and the area was sealed off by Ottawa County deputies pending the arrival of lab detectives. Deputies are attempting to locate the hunters who found the body. The call was made by an older man whom the young hunters talked to. The woods where the body was found lies about 100 yards south of Fillmore Street. And let's see, where is this? Allendale. Just a second. Allendale, Michigan. Okay, I thought it was. Let me go to that really quick. Allendale. There it is. And by the way, if my computer just freezes up and I'll just come back on. It takes like 5 minutes because I'll have to reboot. It's actually frozen a couple times. I'm not sure what's going on. Not today that much. One time earlier in the day, I was like, whoa, what happened? Okay. And the body was found lies 100 yards south of Fillmore. Oh, look at that. Shit. Okay. Gosh. Man, Google, you're just sucking on me. Okay, I'll have to open that back up. It's a standalone Google Earth. Hey, thanks, Carolina Carla. Yeah. Yeah, make sure you come to my shows. Okay? Because we're doing good work, despite YouTube's idiocy. Okay? I mean, YouTube's the most... Not only do they don't help people when they're having problems, like literally like, you know, issues with the platform, they just don't give a shit. It's weird. They care about the big revenue makers, but not the little guy. Oh, did it not? Okay.
Ending week-long YouTube boycott only for grey and freaks.
Alright. Try to open this up again. YouTube. Well, she just says she doesn't watch YouTube for a week because she's mad at it. What do you mean, Brianna? Doesn't that seem pretty obvious? Yeah. They're banning people, so she's, you know, she boycotted it. Sorry, it's taking me a minute here because now I have to load this sucker back up again. And alright. Now we'll go back to this. what was it again? Allendale, Michigan. So right there on the west coast, basically. Now we're going to go to Fillmore Street. Okay, there's Fillmore Street. So 100 yards south of Fillmore Street and a half mile east of 52nd. Okay. That's 48, 56, 52nd. Okay, here we go. 100 yards south of Fillmore Street and a half mile east of 52nd. All right, so we go from right there. Well, shit, why didn't they just say 48th? I mean, it's literally right on it, you know? Like a half mile east of 52nd, half mile east of 52nd Avenue is right on 48th Street. I mean, literally, and then 100 yards south of maybe 48th wasn't there in 1960. That makes sense. Alright, so that's a half mile and then 100 yards from here. Okay, so she was found right there. Let me go back to 1994-ish and see, 97. So it's there in 97, but it's 30 years before this, you know? Let's see. I can go to 1984, and it doesn't look like... Okay, there it is. I can't get in there. So, anyways, that is where she was found. Deputies did not examine the body pending arrival of state police lab detectives. Laboratory analysis. Hold on a second. Man, really struggling here. Things keep closing down on me. You can't see it, but laboratory analysis awaited in girl's death. So this, they actually have, you know, there's photographs and everything here. So they actually did cover this, which is a little bit not usual when it's, unfortunately back then, the media seemed to not really care much about minorities and really poor coverage. It's embarrassing, really. An autopsy was performed late Friday afternoon and early evening to determine the cause of death of a young black girl whose body was discovered about noon Friday by two pheasant hunters near Allendale. The cause of death is still undetermined, pending laboratory analysis, according to Ottawa Sheriff's deputies. The autopsy was performed by Dr. Daniel Glazer, a pathologist from Kalamazoo and Ottawa County. Medical examiner Dr. Peter, doctors said the girl, who they estimated to be between 16 and 20 years old, had been dead from 3 to 7 days before being discovered. The girl, who was found unclothed, was from the waist up, from about 5 feet 8 inches tall, and weighed about 100 pounds. That's really skinny for 5'8". Deputy said the girl was wearing yellow slacks and light blue stockings. The body was discovered by Danny Reister, 14, of Whitehall, who was hunting with his father, Warren Reister, on property next to the farm where they used to live. The body was found on top of the ground in a clump of woods about 100 yards south of Fillmore Street approximately 1/2 mile east of 52nd Avenue. Ottawa Sheriff Bernard Grayson requested the aid of State Police Crime Lab detectives from East Lansing. A team of 4 detectives were sent to the scene to sift for evidence. Grayson said that there were visible signs of head injuries to the body. Grayson added that he was convinced that there was foul play involved in the killing. Grand Rapids police authorities came to the scene in an attempt to identify the girl as being of one of several runaways from the Grand Rapids area. The girl, however, did not match their descriptions. Sheriff deputies sealed off the area while officers from the State Police Crime Lab conducted their investigation. And that's actually a crime scene. It looks like they're probably where she was found. I don't know if she's still there right now when they're in this image. Can't tell. I know I hate that word is even in there, even though it's what the word they used back then. The cause of death, which had been pending a pathologist's report since October 20th, when the body was found, was today ruled by strangulation. That's how they say she died. Ottawa County Sheriff Bernard Grayson received the report from Dr. Daniel Glazier of Kalamazoo. The report said the girl was rendered unconscious by blows to the head. The cause of death is strangulation. The partially clad body of the girl was found by 2 pheasant hunters in a clump of woods. She had been dead from 3 to 7 days. Hempel and Grayson planned to attend the late afternoon gravesite rites scheduled in the same township the body was found. Maybe wanted to see if somebody would show up. Let's see. Hempel said over 400 leads were checked and some 1,200 miles were covered to talk with some 700 persons and show them pictures of the young girl's body. Deputy Lee Postma assisted Hempel in contacting workers in various migrant farmer camps. They also checked out some 10 to 15 missing persons report and supplied leads to the FBI and Florida officials, as well as contacted area welfare departments. Hempel said the case remains open and authorities here are waiting to hear from the FBI. So I just went back in time and got some of these. I think there's one more, maybe. So it says 700 people viewed the pictures of the body of the young girl who found near here without being able to identify her, authorities said Thursday. Ottawa County Detective Sergeant John Hempel said the FBI was checking the possibility that the girl lived and attended school in Florida. The partially clad body of the girl, aged 16 to 20, was found 2 weeks ago by 2 pheasant hunters at the edge of the woods. Now it says she was 5'5" and weighed 100 pounds. That's a little bit more reasonable, but still pretty light. All right. And then this is from a Facebook site. This is July 28, 2020. DNA sought in Jenny Doe cold case. Ottawa detectives to exhume body of 1967 murder victim. Police describe her as a black female between 16 and 22 years old when she died. Murdered by someone who used blunt force trauma and strangulation to end her life. In an attempt to extract DNA that could identify the victim in a long, unsolved case, the Ottawa County Sheriff's Office announced its cold case team will exhume the body of a 1967 murder victim. The body of a young woman was discovered by a pair of hunters. I think most of this... there's a new article, though, that just came out. That was just going back over some of the stuff they've already done. Let me open this up. There it is. New clues, DNA challenges in 1967 cold case. See, cold case detectives. This is from yesterday. Named. Oh wait, let's see. I think there's an actual story. Hold on.
3-year-old Ottawa County cold case. A forensic autopsy on an unidentified woman whose remains were found in a field near Allendale in 1967 revealed injuries missed in the original autopsy. News 8's Joe LaFurgey brings us up to date.
Cold case detectives named her Jenny. She was young, 16 to 22 years old, weighing in at less than 100 pounds. Her young life came to a violent end in 1967. Blunt force trauma and strangulation ruled the cause of death at the time. A second autopsy performed after her body was exhumed last July.
By the way, everybody, I'm just a cup of coffee, raising the funds for my channel, our charities, and whatever else comes along.
Also revealing she had a broken jaw.
I'm not sure that at this point that's necessarily a game changer, but it certainly is good additional information that we've learned.
Ottawa County Investigative Services Division Captain Mark Bennett says the injury occurred at the time of Jenny's death.
There's no healing of that injury, so that's important to know. Maybe tell us more about what led up to her death.
It's just one more clue, one piece of the puzzle that could help modern-day detectives determine what their predecessors couldn't in 1967. Find out who Jenny was and why she was killed. Detectives exhumed the body last summer with help from Michigan State University anthropologists.
That makes more sense.
Detectives believe the new autopsy and advanced DNA technology will help answer those questions. They hope to identify Jenny by connecting her DNA on genealogy websites like Ancestry.com. But Bennett says the embalming process used 50-plus years ago has made extracting her DNA a challenge. The Sheriff's Department has reached out to private companies with techniques to overcome the problem.
We're in the process of looking at that endeavor to see, A, what would be the cost of it, and number two, what would be the percentage or possible rate of success in making an identification.
Cold case detectives have run down tips.
I think that this is one. I'm going to send this to. Colleen's really good. She can take really poor, degraded DNA. Let me send this to her really fast. Oh, and thanks Carla for becoming a patron. Thank you. Okay, I just sent that off to her.
Tips received since the exhumation. In an effort to generate more, they're taking a digital approach.
We're in the process of building a social media type site, Facebook potentially, where we can direct folks to go for information or to give us information.
All of this in the name of getting justice for the young woman buried in an unmarked grave in the Blendon Township Cemetery. Detectives say it's their job, but it's also personal.
If we could at least give a family some closure as to what happened to their loved one, that's always a plus for us.
Joe LaFurgey, News 8.
They called her Jenny just to have a name. So, there you go. They're making some progress on that one. You know, they're going to extract the DNA, but it'd be cool if, Colleen could get a hold of them and say, hey, we can do it for this amount, and, we're good at using degraded DNA. Well, thank you, Carla. Got a Carolina T in here, too. Yeah, we know, June. That's how they did it in the Peak 6 case. You take out a inside the tooth. Anyways, wow. That's just every time. Okay, so we did Jane Doe, and then let's go to Leroy Ortiz. Okay, so this is back, and again, this is 1969. This one. And it's March 3rd, 1969. Leroy Ortiz, 19, has been missing since he left the home of his mother, Mrs. Armando Hernandez of 307 Second, about 10:30 p.m. March 3rd, with two unidentified Utes. He was wearing Levi's, white t-shirt, and a blue parka. Anyone having seen the youth or knowing of his whereabouts is asked to contact the Ogden, Utah Police Department. So that was March 18th, 1969. And then it says a former cleaning, a worker, cleaning trash cans at the Slaterville diversion dam this morning uncovered the body of an Ogden man missing more than a month and prompted a full-scale investigation of foul play. The Weber County Sheriff's Office identified the body as that of Leroy Ortiz, 19, son of Mrs. Armando Hernandez. Chief Deputy Sheriff Wallace Feller said he definitely suspects foul play from the wounds discovered on the body. An autopsy has been ordered by the Weber County Attorney's Office to determine if the wounds were caused by rocks on the riverbed or if they were inflicted before the body entered the water. Deputies theorized the body had been in the water more than a month. The Ortiz man was reported missing on March 11th by his mother, who told authorities he had not been seen since March 3rd when he left his home in the company of two identified youths. Chief Feller said this morning he feels the body was deposited in the water only a short distance from where it was discovered. He said the victim was identified as the Ortiz man through his stepfather, a toe print, and a tattoo on his back. The body was discovered about 8:20 a.m. by an employee. You can actually see he was kind of found in this dam diversionary area. Jeez, guys, am I gonna have to just throw myself in prison? I mean, just imagine if Pam wasn't here tonight. Wow, that would have been a really slow one. Let's see. Arnold R. Miller of 1827 Van Buren told deputies he spotted the body while cleaning trash racks, the same racks he worked on the night before, without noticing anything out of the ordinary. Well, he probably just could have flown, or Mag, that's what I meant, Mag, sorry. I don't know why I was thinking Pam. I knew it was a 3-letter name. Thank you. Yeah. Wait, no bail? Is that bad? Doesn't that mean I go into jail when you say that? Thanks, Lee D. Yeah. And oh, man. Okay, well, there you go. So I was sent to jail. Nope. It says, yeah, no bail. So anytime there's no bail, that means there was anger that sent me to jail. Thanks, Michelle Nicholas. I am better. Listen. Gosh darn it. What was that thing on Saturday Night Live? Gosh darn it, and I like me, or something like that. Can't remember what the joke was. Gray is so mean. Now I think we just broke even. Well, no, I think we got out because Australian the conversion rate. So I'll get out of here. Thank you. There we go. I think this guy was a really good boxer. This individual. Deputies theorized the body had been in the water more than a month. The Ortiz man was reported missing on March 11th by his mother, who told authorities he had not been seen since March 3rd, when he left his home in the company of two unidentified Utes after receiving a phone call. Chief Feller said this morning he feels the body was deposited in the water only a short distance from where it was discovered. Hey, thanks, Liz. Okay, cool. I'll go to a bar and see what I can do.
Heat money.
Thank you very much. Deputies theorized the body had been lodged near the shore and was carried loose overnight by high waters. Condition of the badly decomposed body led deputies to believe it had been in the water for more than a month. The body had been taken to the University Hospital. An extensive investigation and search had been conducted by Ogden City Police and the Sheriff's Office since the Ortiz man was reported missing. Leads had been checked out that the man was seen leaving his home in a gray sedan. The Ogden High student was described by his mother as always punctual. Ms. Hernandez told authorities the man had no money or wallet on him and was clad only in waist overalls, a white t-shirt, and blue parka. When the body was discovered, it was dressed only in denims and shoes with no shirt, deputies reported. Huh. I wonder how a t-shirt wouldn't just sort of come off. Hey, thanks, Carolina Carla. Got some chips, hooch money, and a better cup of coffee from Michelle. And then, unfortunately, Lee D stuck me in the prison. Or I guess it worked out. Thanks. Okay, so it turns out
commissary money for chips.
A 19-year-old amateur Ogden boxer, that's what he did, whose body was pulled from a diversion dam Wednesday, died a violent death through a bullet wound in the heart, authorities disclosed today. An autopsy conducted by the state medical examiner's office in Salt Lake showed that Leroy Ortiz, 19 years old, son of Mrs. Armando Hernandez of 307 32nd, died of a gunshot wound. The autopsy was ordered by the Weber County Attorney's Office after the victim's badly decomposed body was discovered from the trash racks at the diversion dam in Slaterville. So I guess those probably keep trash from floating downstream or something. There's no question in our opinion, Mr. Sharp said, in revealing that the Weber County Sheriff's Office, Ogden Police, the county attorney and district attorney will agree the Ortiz man was murdered. All right, so we've got, this is from today. The Justice Files 1969 cold case murder is now solved, they say. Which is pretty crazy. I mean, and it's weird because they didn't solve it the way, you think, like, okay, DNA or something. I'm not sure why this isn't loading up. Hold on. There it is.
Well, an unsolved murder now solved. In 1969, Leroy Ortiz was preparing for the National Gold Gloves Boxing Championships.
Thanks for the honey buns.
But then he disappeared. A month later, his body was found in a river.
His killer had never been found until now. For every crime, there's a story, and the truth matters. Here's ABC4 senior crime and punishment correspondent Marcos Ortiz with tonight's Justice Files.
For more than 50 years, the family of Leroy Ortiz have been searching for answers. Back in the spring of 1969, Ortiz left his Ogden home with two unidentified young men. He never returned.
Leroy Ortiz was not only a fine boxer, but apparently a fairly scrappy street fighter as well.
In 1969, Leroy Ortiz was known as a boxing champion, according to his family, and not a street fighter. In fact, Ortiz was a Golden Gloves boxing champion, and he was preparing for the national championships in April of that year when he disappeared. 2 years ago, his sister told ABC4 they couldn't understand his sudden departure.
Leroy was very... He was the type of person that went home every night.
According to police reports,
Right,
his mother claimed Ortiz...
Let me go back. Until now. For every crime, there's a story, and the truth matters. Here's ABC4 senior crime and punishment correspondent Marcos Ortiz with tonight's Justice Files.
For more than 50 years, the family of Leroy Ortiz have been searching for answers. Back in the spring of 1969, Ortiz left his Ogden home with 2 unidentified young men. He never returned.
Leroy Ortiz was not only a fine boxer, but apparently a fairly scrappy street fighter as well.
In 1969, Leroy Ortiz was known as a boxing champion, according to his family, and not a street fighter. In fact, Ortiz was a Golden Gloves boxing champion, and he was preparing for the national championships in April of that year when he disappeared. 2 years ago, his sister told ABC4 they couldn't understand his sudden departure.
Leroy was very... He was the type of person that went home every night.
According to police reports, his mother claimed Ortiz left their home on 32nd Street with 2 unidentified youths.
There was no calls. There was no contact with him. We didn't know where he's at. None of his friends knew where he was at.
About 20 days later, authorities found the body of Ortiz at a small diversion dam near Slaterville in Weber County. The family's private investigator has talked with witnesses and authorities.
He was shot in the back with a single round, and he died instantly. He was shot as he was trying to escape because he was bound to a chair.
At the time, police had 2 or 3 possible suspects, but there was never anyone arrested, and the case was scaled back, upsetting Ortiz's family.
What upset me was back, 69, minorities and stuff, they're not too concerned about us. That really upset me, not knowing who to turn to or whatever and stuff. True. Just kind of had to learn to live with it.
After all these years, the family of Leroy Ortiz have lived with the thought that his killer was still out there and they couldn't get justice. But now, authorities are convinced they now know who murdered Leroy Ortiz.
See, that person, that Brandy idiot, was just a troll when they showed up. What the hell was that? I mean, why did they get so angry like that? So quickly. Look at that moron. Jesus. What an idiot. See, they were just waiting around. What were you supposed to switch over to their case? Because they came in and they're just some expert. Oh yeah, I live right down the street. Look how weird that is. Less of a confession. I don't see Amber's murder getting solved. And then the next thing, this channel sucks! What a loser. Man, just classic. Got a couple new sound effects for you guys. How about this one? Whoa! Yeah, I don't even think that person had a clue what they were talking about. They don't know a damn thing about that case. There's no way somebody would come in and, because you're not talking about what they want to talk about, would say that if they were legit.
Tease.
We don't have any other evidence to suggest anyone else involved other than Richard Rio.
According to the Weber County attorney, it was a man by the name of Raymond Norman who was jailed in Louisiana awaiting extradition for a Utah crime. Rios died in 1995, but Allred says Norman, who knew Rios, claimed that Rios confessed to him about murdering Ortiz.
So we're fairly confident that Richard Rios was the one who, in fact...
That's pretty weak in a way, though. I mean, maybe there was enough detail where they realize it. But it's just like, really? Some guy said that somebody else said something? I don't know. Here, listen to... hold on a second. Hello? Who's there?
Hey, it's me. I was just calling in. How come there's those damn trolls? I mean, it's crazy that those damn trolls, they just show up to your channel and you're just trying to do your thing.
Well, how come you called me on Zoom?
Well, I thought I could get in easier that way.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just still doing my show, Mary Lou.
Okay, well, I just wanted to call in and see what's going on.
Jesus. Man, I think even Mary Lou's trolling me at this point. Jeez. Crazy, crazy, crazy. All right. So that one, apparently they believe it's solved. You know, I guess they know what they're doing. There's probably enough detail described everything. Yep. All right. So now we're going to move on to the Amber Hagerman case. Unfortunately, if the moron Brandy shows up again, we won't be able to include her in the conversation. All right. Yeah, so there's a long press conference we'll go over. And I was going to go over the whole thing, you know, some of the information that we had from the beginning. But the press conference is really a good one. I mean, it really goes through everything, has pictures. And I kind of want to see how close I have things on a map here. I know that, yeah, so her body was found. I want to see how close I have it. I think that's going to be pretty close. I haven't looked at it yet. So, all right. So let's do the press conference. All right. I found a pretty good recording. I was going to use another one and go back and forth, but I mean it just would take forever. So I fixed the audio. It was more coming out of one side. All right, you guys ready? It's like 30-something minutes long. I might stop it here and there because, you know, that's how I do it.
Trey, why do you do that? I want to watch the whole thing.
Well, because that's how I do it. I just told you that. Hey, thank you. CSI crowdsourced illuminations. Yeah.
For ramen noodles and peanut butter crackers.
There we go.
I'm Kevin Colby, the Assistant Chief over Investigations. Tragedy struck this community some 25 years ago, January 13, 1996. Our resolve to solve this case, to bring this suspect to justice, has not wavered. Through the years, we have remained committed to look for new technologies that may assist us in this case. Technology has progressed over the past 2 decades since the abduction took place, and we have plans to submit items of evidence in an attempt to obtain a DNA profile. I do not want to provide false hope because we have limited evidence in this case. However, we will not rest until we get this guy of what he did to Amber. Amber's legacy continues to live throughout the robust and highly successful Amber Alert program. Credited with over 1,000 successful recoveries, you can see how important this is for the public to take these alerts serious. I have authorized and established a new tip line, 817-575-8823. Oak Farms Dairy has renewed a $10,000 reward for any information to help us in this case. Our hope is that someone in the community saw something. Maybe they didn't come forward 25 years ago out of fear or not wanting to get involved. Whatever reason, we need folks to search their minds and bring forward anything that may be value to our investigation.
Yeah, well, I mean, let me just, you know, what happened, remember, she was on a bike, we talked about it. She was on a bike with a friend, and they were just pedaling around here, and then she was abducted by a guy that was, you know, pulled up in I think it was a dark truck, and he pulled up and he abducted her. And there was an eyewitness right here that saw it, at least the vehicle driving by. And then she was driven away and nobody could find her, and then they found her body right up in this area a few days later. And it was just absolutely, it just shows, I mean, this is exactly the kind of case we're always talking about. Just monsters exist, you know. They just drive around and they're hunting as they drive around. You know, whenever opportunity presents itself, boom. They're just absolute psycho whack jobs. So let me go back to this. And her name, you know, Amber Hagerman. Her first name is why they have the Amber Alerts now. She's the individual who started that. I mean, because of her case, she didn't start it herself.
Oftentimes in cases like Amber, it only takes a small tip, a small lead, to break a case wide open. Come forward and do the right thing for her family. Do it for our community. Do it for our employees,
I'm sure they've covered it
who are out there and haunted by this case. Most importantly, do it for Amber. My message to the killer: there has been many high-profile media events and programs highlighting Amber's case over the years. I have no doubt that you have seen them, that you've heard it.
You know what's interesting is when I covered Amber, I didn't even know anything about it. It was just a cold case mentioned on the website. On a website, it was like a list of them, so I covered that one, and then through it, I realized, oh wow, and then I knew it was a bigger case.
And you have seen the pain that you have caused this family and our community. Have the guts to come forward and admit your involvement so we can finally provide some closure to this community and family. I'm going to turn the mic over to Detective Grant Gildon, who's going to walk you through what happened that fateful night.
This is perfect.
Provide some updates on our current criminal investigation.
So when he's talking, I'll switch back over to the map and everything.
Detective?
Good morning. On January the 13th, 1996, at approximately 2:30 p.m., an eyewitness in this case who lived at 1701 Ruth Street, which is right here directly behind the building that previously was the Quick Wash laundromat, came into his backyard to work on an old vehicle that belonged to his son. Upon entering his backyard, he observed what he described as a black truck that was backed in on the west side of the laundromat here at the northwest corner. He didn't pay any attention to the truck, just saw it sitting there. Shortly after 3 p.m. on January the 13th, Donna and her two children, Amber and her younger brother Ricky, arrived at Donna's parents' house.
Wow, I haven't even watched. I didn't even touch the map. We had even the parking spot was good. I don't think the address was given to us where the eyewitness was. It just said it was over the fence, and I just got lucky and picked the right one.
At 339 Highland Drive, which is approximately 2 blocks south of here.
Now let me.
Almost immediately after arriving there, Amber. He didn't pay any attention to the truck, just saw it sitting there. Shortly after 3 p.m. on January the 13th, Donna and her two children, Amber and her younger brother Ricky, arrived at Donna's parents' house at 339 Highland Drive, which is approximately 2 blocks south of here. Almost immediately after arriving there, Amber and Ricky began riding their bicycles around the neighborhood. Ultimately, riding up Highland, down Ruth Street, and arriving here at this parking lot, the 1600 block of East Abram. At some point, Ricky returned, and Amber stayed here and continued riding her bicycle. Sometime around between 3:05 and 3:15 p.m., the eyewitness, who was still in his backyard, observed what he described as a young girl, long brown hair, riding her bicycle on this loading dock. He advised she appeared carefree and having fun. Short time later, he observed a black truck that he believed to be the same black truck that had previously been sitting here in the parking lot, driving west through the parking lot and stopping here at the north end of this loading dock. He advised the driver of that truck, who is the suspect in this case, exited the driver's door, and as Amber was riding her bicycle south, coming this direction, the suspect ran up behind her, grabbed her under her arms, and lifted her off of the bicycle, causing the bicycle to fall and continue lying on the ground. He described the suspect carrying Amber in that same position as she kicked and screamed to his truck and putting her inside the driver's side door and shutting the door. He then described that the driver drove north through this parking lot, hesitated momentarily before turning west on Abram Street and driving towards the center of Arlington, away from the nearby highways. The eyewitness immediately returned inside his residence and contacted 911. The 911 call was received by Arlington Dispatch at 3:18 p.m. on the 13th of January. Officers were immediately dispatched to the location. Upon their arrival, they discovered the bicycle still laying here in this parking lot and began to interview the eyewitness. A short time after that, a gentleman showed up, identified himself as being Amber's grandfather, and identified the bicycle as being that belonging to his granddaughter, Amber Hagerman. At that moment, the kidnapping investigation began on January 13th, 1996. Personnel with the Arlington Police Department and various local, state, and federal agencies worked around the clock in an attempt to find Amber Hagerman. Unfortunately, on the night of January the 17th, 1996, at approximately 11:41 p.m., Arlington Dispatch received a call from a resident at the Forest Ridge Apartments, address 2908 Forest Hollow Lane. We have some descriptions here showing where these locations are throughout Arlington. The resident of Forest Ridge Apartments advised he was walking his dog in the northwest corner of the complex along a creek that runs on the west side of the apartments, and stated he had observed what he believed to be a body. Arlington police were dispatched and were able to identify the body as Amber Hagerman.
Here, let me, now that we're here, they put up these boards on the side, and I did screenshots, and then I found a website that actually had the photographs that they had on the screen, uploaded images. So let me, so let's take this image here. It's an overhead shot. Okay, and let's try to line this up with what's going on here. So that would be the parking. I think this is a shot like this. Oh yeah, I think that's it. Here, I'm just looking at a different screen over here. This one. Oh, I see it. It's right there. Wow. I think I might be like right on where the spot. That's crazy. Look at this. See? Boom, 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 and then ding, ding, and then everything else is the same. And then it says the body location is just, I think if I was going to move this, I'd probably move it to right there. But it's pretty close guess from back then, you know. Yeah. And it looks like there's even a little culvert maybe right there that I didn't see before. All right, let me go back.
This was on January.
What a weird place, too, right? To dump a body. It's kind of, there's people around. If I remember right, it seemed like somebody even... It was kind of a weird scenario with the guy walking the dog. It was like I can't remember the story, but we covered that way back when.
The 17th, 1996, and at that point, the murder investigation began into this case. I would like to provide accurate suspect and suspect vehicle descriptions for this case. This is based off eyewitness testimony of the kidnapping that occurred here. The suspect is believed to be a white or Hispanic male in his 20s to 30s, was under 6 feet in height, medium build, and had brown or black hair. The vehicle description was a 1980s or 90s black pickup truck, described as a short wheelbase, fleet size pickup truck, and was a single cab vehicle. It was black in color, and the witness described there was no chrome, striping, or visible damage to the vehicle that he saw.
And this is a press conference from today, I think. Okay, so this is new. They're trying to well, there's another interesting thing that he brings up in here, because it sounds like the FBI now has a new technology for extracting DNA, and they're just waiting for it. Isn't that crazy? Now it's not a like a Ranger size. It's the big type of pickup truck. They explain that later. It's the big ones.
Stated it was in good condition. We finally described the rear of the vehicle, the rear window, as being clear and not having a sliding glass. This is the accurate suspect description and vehicle description in this case. I'll now turn it over to Sergeant Ben Lopez to describe some of the investigation that has taken place over the last 25 years.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah,
I'm Sergeant Ben Lopez with Arlington Police Department.
Me too, Cindy Lee.
I was a rookie patrol officer back in 1996 when Amber was abducted. I was actually working that day, and as all the officers that were working that day, when we heard the call go out, we all responded to the area of the abduction, which we are here next to you today. I responded to the area and began looking for the suspect vehicle, began looking for Amber, and began, of course, looking for the suspect. Unfortunately, as we all know, her body was found a few days later. So what was a kidnapping investigation then became a murder investigation. Because of the overwhelming number of leads that we were receiving at that time, the department formed a task force to investigate her murder. I was one of the original members of that task force. That task force ran from February of 1996 until June of 1997. We had 12 detectives and 1 sergeant assigned to the task force. Among the detectives that were assigned, we also had a Tarrant County Sheriff's Office deputy who assisted us full-time. We also had assistance from the FBI and the Texas Rangers throughout the years that we've been investigating this. The original task force investigated and cleared over 5,500 leads. One of the things that we looked at that time was, is it possible that there were other witnesses who saw what happened but were fearful about coming forward? With it being a Saturday afternoon that was nice, and the laundromat being right next door to the abduction, we were concerned that there could be people that were there at the laundromat who may have been undocumented and living in this country illegally. And we spent a lot of time putting out flyers and talking to the community to assure them that if there is a witness or witnesses who have that concern, we are not interested at all in pursuing any kind of deportation or any interest in their undocumented status. We would just ask that anybody with information come forward. when Jim Ford was the original detective on this case. I worked with him when I became a homicide detective later in my career. When Jim retired in 2010, then I became the lead detective, and I had the case from then until 2018 when I promoted to sergeant. At that time, Detective Grant Gildon took over as the lead detective. During the years, throughout the years since this happened, we've routinely looked at the evidence that we've had, and we've looked at new technologies that have developed during that time. We've contacted major labs across the country to speak with them and consult with them to see if there's anything new technology-wise that could help us and assist us in identifying the suspect. And that continues to this day. This case is personal to me because I've been involved in some aspect since the day that Amber was abducted. Also, it's personal to me because during the years I've come to know Donna Williams, Amber's mother, and Ricky Hagerman, Amber's brother. So that makes it more personal to me as well. I would love to be able to give Donna and Ricky and the rest of the members of their family the answer to the question that they would like to know. And of course that is, who did this to Amber, and bring that person to justice. At this time, I'd like to introduce Donna Williams, and she'd like to say a few words. Thank you all for being here today.
Hi, I just wanted to let everyone know about my daughter, Amber. She was just 9 years old. She loved school. She loved riding her bicycle. She loved being a little mommy to her little brother, Ricky. I miss her every day, and she's just so full of life, and I want to know why. Why her? She was only a little girl. And to Amber's killer, I'm asking you today, please turn yourself in. Give Amber justice. Amber needs justice. Deeply, deeply needs justice.
There, just to answer your question, it says what is a car wheelbase? A car's wheelbase is the distance between the centers of the front, and short wheelbase cars are, well, hold on, let me get this. It probably means the distance between the front and back, so you can turn, I guess, let's see. Front and rear wheels. It's the distance between, so if it's close, the front and rear wheels, then it's short, right? I didn't know that either. Huh. The car's wheelbase is the distance between the centers of the front and rear wheels. It's therefore a smaller number than the car's full length, as measured from the front and rear end. The car pictured, yeah, it doesn't matter what the car looks like. But anyways, that's the answer.
And to anyone who has seen or heard anything about Amber's case, please come forward. Thank you.
Before I turn it over to questions, I also want to introduce Mayor Pro Tem Dr. Victoria Fryer-Myers. Would you like to come up and just say a few words and stand up here with us?
This lady, I don't even know what to make of her.
And I'll open it up for questions.
This new one coming up, she's just strange to me. She almost seemed like somebody out of a movie that just sort of...
Thank you, Chief. I'll be brief. Again, my name is Dr. Victoria Fryer-Myers. I'm Mayor Pro Tem. I'm here to represent the City Council and the Mayor on this anniversary that we hope will never be celebrated again. And with your help...
Well, no, they'll always probably celebrate the day she was murdered, so...
We hope...
You know, like celebrate her life, I mean, on that day, not celebrate...
that the urgings of what you've just heard will be taking...
She reminds me of somebody from, what's that movie with Keanu Reeves in it? Matrix, you know? Like, almost doesn't even... I'm not going conspiratorial. It's just, I'm just saying that's what she's like. Look at, watch.
Thank you, Chief. I'll be brief. Again, my name is Dr. Victoria Fryer-Myers. I'm Mayor Pro Tem. I'm here to represent the City Council and the Mayor on this anniversary that we hope will never be celebrated again. And with your help, we hope that the urgings of what you've just heard will be taken to heart, and that we will, once and for all, find justice for Amber. Thank you for being here. Help us solve this case. Help us bring justice to Amber. Thank you.
Jesus. What the hell
Thank
is
you
that?
for all coming. Yeah, we'll take some questions. Yes.
No, she's not a crisis actor. Okay.
Yeah, so the question, if you didn't hear, was more about the evidence. Well, I will tell you that the condition that we found Amber, it was
Yeah,
difficult
that's what I
to
think,
collect some
Carolina.
evidence, and it made it very difficult for us a case. I will tell you that we do have some evidence, and I really don't want to disclose all the evidence at this time. The reason is that we want to make sure that the killer knows what happened, and he knows that if we have that evidence, we can specifically ask him, and it can identify him and corroborate his story. Technology from DNA has progressed since the 80s and the 90s. And we're very excited because we continually try to be aggressive and trying to meet new technology head on with this case. And we're excited because this year there is new technology when it comes to DNA, and we're excited about this year being able to submit that and hope that we can get a better DNA profile on the killer. I'll let the case agent, Sergeant.
Yes, and the question was, do we have any further information on the make and model of the pickup truck? Unfortunately, we don't know for sure. Initially, the witness to this described it as a full-size Ford pickup, but we certainly would not discount other American-made pickups. Now, he was specific that it was not a smaller truck like the old Ford Rangers or the S10 pickups. He was specific that it was a full-size single cab, and he thought it was a Ford, but he was not 100% sure on that part. And again, he was specific that it was a single cab, not extended cab, not a crew cab. It appeared stock. It was not did not appear to be a four-wheel drive, and it did not appear to have any modifications to it. No, sir.
Please, sir.
Yeah, I'm wondering, you said, that there was a task force formed after this happened, and that the investigation is still ongoing. Can you speak to kind of how active this investigation is currently, and what kind of resources have been dedicated to this?
Well, this case, we never close a case that we don't resolve. So it is always active. And the reason that we're coming here today is that we're looking to reinvigorate somebody's mind, somebody's recollection of what happened 25 years ago. We've immediately after we had over 5,000 leads. I think throughout the investigation, we've been investigating more than 7,000 leads. It's time on this anniversary that we reinvigorate, bring this story to the forefront, that we try to bring somebody who saw something that may have been cautious or afraid 25 years ago. We need those small leads. We need that information, so we're pleading with the public. Please come forward. Help us solve this case. Help us bring justice for Amber and the family. Yes, sir. Where are we on the process of resubmitting? The technology is being refined and will be finalized early this year. We have not submitted the evidence yet. We have previously submitted our DNA evidence several times to the FBI laboratory. Because the technology is new and it's advanced, we are excited that this year and hopefully by February that we will submit this new evidence to see if we can get an enhanced DNA profile. Yes. Yeah, I'll start off. Amber Alert has just become a household name. You know, we get it over our iPhones today. It's just a legacy that has really helped many thousands of children be recovered. It's a way that we notify immediately that we have a missing child. And it just speaks for the results that children have been saved because of Amber Alert. So I will turn it over to Donna if you want to talk about what it means to you.
The Amber Alert, I'm very, very proud of it.
No, they don't
because
say.
it is help saving our children's lives. It's helped bringing our children back to mommy and daddy. And so it's another legacy from my daughter, that she didn't die in vain, that she is still taking care of our little children as she did when she was here. And I'm very, very proud of my daughter and for all she has done for our children here.
I was just wondering, if anybody could speak to this, what it would mean, to find the person responsible for this, what kind of closure that might bring, I guess, if anybody wants to answer that question.
Yeah, and I'll let Donna say. You know, I think in the history, when you have someone who's committed a heinous crime like this, whether it's a serial killer or it's an individual incident that happened, you know, time goes by, 25 years later, the killer knows who it is, he knows who he is, he has some guilt, some remorse, hopefully, and that as he's gaining in age, we are pleading with him to come forward. It's time. It's time that we bring closure to this case and we resolve this case. So I'll let Donna, do you want to start?
Yes, me and Amber's family, we are desperately wanting closure. It would not make my heart feel any better, because my heart breaks every day for her, because I do miss her a lot. And I do want justice for Amber, and we do want closure for her. We want justice.
Right. We are, to answer one of the questions first off, we had one witness. All this time, we've only had one witness come forward to tell us what happened and what he saw. So, again, that's why we're pleading that if there's anybody out there that has information, even if they think it's just a small bit of information, it may be the lead that we need to break this. So we're going off the information provided by that one witness back in 1996.
Yes, the figure we gave of 5,500, that's the number of leads the Amber Hagerman Task Force investigated between February of 96 and June of 97. Current to date, we've investigated over 7,000 by the homicide unit. This case, we continue to get leads, and when I say leads, we get tips, whether that be directly to our department or through the Tarrant County Crime Stoppers. We get tips every month. In now over 2 years, almost 3 years that I've had the case, there's not been a single month that we have not gotten some kind of tip come in. Also, in addition to following up on each of those tips, I conduct a yearly audit of all evidence to continue to analyze what we have, how it can be used, and on a yearly basis, I talk with all the major laboratories around the country to see if there's any new technologies or anything that we could possibly be trying with the evidence that we have. And that is what's led to some new developments where we can try some things this year as we continue to look for new ways to investigate this case.
And just a quick follow-up. When you say submitting DNA, are you talking about submitting to the FBI, or are we talking about those genealogy sites that are similar to the people?
So just like Chief said, we're not willing to say exactly what what it is we are submitting, but we're submitting evidence that we've maintained for 25 years that we believe could possibly provide us with results that could be a DNA profile. That's what we're working on, is trying.
I mean, that's got to be something that she may have had on her when they found her, you know, or even a swab that they did. I mean, obviously she was sexually assaulted, and you know, that's probably the whole point of the why the guy abducted her. So there must be an item that probably, you know, I guess the possibility. Well, she was in the water, though. That's one of the problems that they had. So if it was inside of her, you know, that would have helped preserve it. You know, it's one of those weird things. Like, you kind of wish you could say, "Hey, I wish they weren't, you know, they weren't sexually assaulted." But the thing is the sexual assaults are what are solved from a long time ago because of the DNA that was left behind. It just wasn't. Nobody knew about it back then. I mean, if you're going to get murdered anyway, that would be a way that it's easier to solve those cases. Yeah, it sucks. I mean, it's like one of those weird things that I don't know how to say it. It's almost like it's fortunate when that occurs, because you have a better chance of finding them later. Where if there aren't an assault, like let's just say the person grabbed her, stabbed her, and took the knife, dumped her body somewhere, there's probably going to be no forensic evidence whatsoever. And those are the ones that never get solved. Unless somebody says, "Hey, thanks, Cindy Lynn."
Love, light, and a cup of coffee.
Yes, you can't really make a good sentence out of that one, though, CSI. Like, there's no way to say a sentence where it sounds okay to say. So you have to sort of dance around saying the sentence because it just sounds ridiculous. You know.
And to enhance that. It's evidence we've maintained all this time. So there's lots of details regarding this case that we're not going to talk about. That's one of them.
I think she said something in the background, maybe sexually assaulted, perhaps. I don't know. I thought I heard her say that. It was so low. You know, it could be that, you know, she was made to dress again, maybe, and then perhaps I don't know. I really, you know, there's a lot of could-have, should-haves, all that stuff. But she was found in the water. Let me just check something here really fast. This is the body. I got the PDF file right here. The body of a small child with long dark hair was discovered in a creek bed near Texas 360. Authorities said the body was matched to the description of Amber Hagerman, 9, who's been missing since Saturday. Jerry Wurst, 33, a resident of Forest Ridge. Thanks, Gene Fish.
The DNA Project.
Jerry Wurst, 33, a resident of Forest Ridge apartment, said he was standing on a second-floor balcony looking out when he heard someone yell. Wurst said he yelled, "What's going on?" And the person replied, "There's a body in the creek." Wurst said he then called 911. Officer said the body was naked. So there you go. The body lay in a natural creek channel behind the apartment complex. So they may have done a swab. Okay, if she was completely naked, unless the killer left something behind on accident. Wurst said he took a flashlight and went to the creek after he called 911. I saw black hair. The body was real white. The body was found at 11:41 p.m., so late at night, in a creek bed near 2900 block of Forest Hollow Lane. Okay, so that gives a little detail on how she, was left.
We want to maintain the integrity of the case and the integrity of any interviews or new developments that could come up in the future. So, yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Kevin Brown.
I was lucky enough to get to know the first lead investigator, Jim Ford, on this case. And what you learned as a young police officer when you came to Arlington Police Department is just how motivated and dedicated Jim Ford was to this case. Him, along with all of the detectives and all of the officers that worked this case, many of them that responded on January 13th of 1996, still work for the Arlington Police Department. And there is a legacy within our department where we're extremely motivated and dedicated to solve this case. First and foremost, we want justice for Amber. We want to be able to provide Donna with the answers to her questions. But there is also within the Arlington Police Department a desire to continue the legacy of those that were so dedicated for so many years
and Kevin Brown
to continue to work this case. And that's why it's one that has continued to be worked on a daily basis for the last 25 years. Yes. Down on the end is the picture, obviously, of the bicycle that Amber was riding at the time of the abduction. The next picture, this is the creek. These are original crime scene pictures from the creek and the culvert where her body was recovered. The next one is a diagram. The area looks very much the same today, 25 years later. This is, it was the Forest Ridge Apartments in 1996. Today, it's the Hudson Apartments at 2908 Forest Hollow Lane. This is a diagram showing specific locations along the creek that were significant in this case. This is a map that we developed just to be able to show everyone. We know that there's media members here that were not here 25 years ago covering this case, so we wanted to make it clear just how close some of the significant addresses were. Amber's grandparents' house was a very short distance. The eyewitness to this case, you can see his backyard right here next to us. And of course, the abduction site is exactly where all of you are at right now. The body recovery site is only a few miles from here. It's in the northern part of Arlington. We believe this is significant. There's several things. This is an area that we believe anyone involved would have to be somewhat familiar with, would have to know the location. It's not an area that you would accidentally stumble upon.
Yeah, so he was.
So we wanted to highlight that and show the location. Finally,
I mean, I think that's pretty crazy that they actually had Street View in that very same parking lot. Hey, maybe he works for Google, the guy. All right, so anyways, he was backed up against this building right there. The neighbor that we were talking about, he lives right there, and he saw over the fence. He could see, so he was right there, right? So he was in the backyard, and you could see the truck right there. And then apparently it backed, he kind of caught her over in this area. See, there's the loading dock right there. So right over, kind of like on, maybe just somewhere right around in this area. And then he drove out and then that direction, which is interesting because he drove that way, but then she's found up here. So, you know, he would have had to kind of, I don't know, that's kind of an interesting move to make. I think if he lived in this area, he would have taken a right, or even just quickly just went straight ahead up this road right here, and you go basically right there, right? So it's interesting that he took a left. So that indicates he had a secondary spot that he was going to be taking her, and then he ended up dumping her body over here, which I would assume was pretty far away from where he actually lives. You know, so he probably, somebody that lives, you know, I would guess something like right around in here. You know, if I was just going to, if he lived in the town at that time, sounds like he probably did. You know, he's probably over here somewhere, closer to Fort Worth, and then he drove back, put her back here near there because it's far from him. It's just odd. I mean, you wouldn't take a left if you're actually going straight there. There's no way. Anyways, that's just my opinion. Are you guys still there? You guys quit talking.
Amber's mother, Donna, has provided us with a collage of pictures here today to show just how beautiful and innocent Amber was. We have another crime scene aerial shot of the body recovery location. This is the same area as you see over here, just a broader scope and showing where her body was recovered. Finally, you've got a picture of Amber. That is a picture that's been in the Arlington Police Department homicide unit for the last 25 years, and the original missing person poster that was distributed at the time of her abduction.
Like, I don't think he took the left to throw people off. I think he took the left because that's where he was going. He didn't even know anybody saw him.
Just like Chief said, the evidence in this case is limited. Over the years, one of the difficult things with a case as it goes on this long is there's many aspects of the case that aren't going to change. Who your eyewitness is, what evidence you have from the day of the offense, those things a lot of times don't change. We have continued to investigate this given the information we have. As we see other cases that also have been investigated for long periods of time, I would say it gives us hope. It continues to motivate us. I would like to very much applaud the detectives around the country that have solved those cases. And I want to make clear here today, we believe this case will get solved.
Yeah, I do too. You know, the thing is, they keep wanting people from the laundromat, but the thing is if you look at that, I don't know if there's any windows or anything back here, and if he was right there, you'd have to have been somebody that just happened to be out and about. But it was a nice, you know, decent day. You know, there's probably somebody out there that saw it, just like this guy did. But it, you know, in a way, it's kind of secluded, right? So if you're driving by, you're not looking over there. And if you're if you're driving this direction, you can't see over here because you're driving like this. You can't see back there. And, you know, basically the only time you'd see if you were on this side of the road and you just happen to glance way over there, you'd notice it. So, it's actually a pretty secluded little place right there. You got buildings blocking everything. But, I mean, how did this person know anything? Was he just going to wait for anybody? It's almost like the bridge guy, in a way, right? He might have gone there a few days, waiting for somebody to go into, you know, to pull into his trap. You know, you've got maybe there's a ramp there, and he always noticed that there were kids that like to play on the ramp with their bikes. So he'd wait there, he'd go fishing, hunting, whatever the hell you want to call it. You know, semi-regularly. And then after he killed her, he probably went and did the same thing somewhere else. I think there's going to be other abduction cases that this person would be linked to. To do what he did isn't something you do one time. I mean, that has happened sometimes. Like the April Tinsley case, John Miller, the FBI profile even said he probably only killed that one time. Even though he was doing that taunting crap for years.
We believe that there's no way the killer in this case could have committed the crime in the manner that they did without someone seeing, hearing, or having some knowledge of what happened. We believe someone out there still has information that can help us solve this case, and we want to...
Now, he was parked right next to the back of the laundromat right here. Then he left, then he came back, and he was still in the same... He went back to the same spot, and then Amber and I think her brother Richard, or a friend Richard, I can't remember what it was, but they were riding bikes, and then that person took off. So then it was just Amber alone. See, it's weird. I mean, it's just, the guy was just waiting. I wonder if would he not have abducted her if the other kid was still there? It seemed like he still would have. He just would have waited, because he didn't seem to care that much that somebody might see his vehicle. Although it seems like, in a way, he did do this in a place that was pretty isolated. I don't know.
Make sure, as great as Amber's legacy is with the Amber Alert, and that's something that everyone involved is very proud of, we want to make it clear that we are still working and trying to solve this case as well and bring justice for Amber.
He might not be local, right? Like when people, we always say, like I was thinking the Delphi case, oh, he's local. Really? I mean, after all these years with only that few 3,000 people living in a town, nobody knew. I don't think he lives there. So, I mean, he might live in Fort Worth right here, right? So Fort Worth is close, but it's not really here. So he went over there, just took a trip over here, waited, sat around waiting for an opportunity, boom. And he's never going to go back to there again. He'll try some other place, but he might be from, like I was saying, over in this area, which is kind of more in the Fort Worth area.
Just curious, with the vast amount of tips you've sorted through over the years, how often are they helpful or significant, or how often do they, maybe lead you in the wrong direction, or just
Yeah, maybe.
Obviously, with 7,000 tips over the years, some are more in depth and able to be followed up on more than others. Every single one that comes in gets thoroughly investigated. That goes through a process of.
But I mean, why would he go there to okay, so let's say it is a trucker and he went there to unload stuff so he knew the area. When he would do that, would he notice kids playing there often? And that's why he went back there? Or is this just truly somebody randomly driving around, parked in a place and waited? And maybe he drove by a couple times, saw kids on bikes there. Yeah, that's possible. Yeah, there's a lot of maybes, should have, all those kind of things. Yeah, we're not going to get to know until we actually get the answer. I think he's somebody who just may have noticed one time that kids seemed to bike around there. It was a sunny day, parked there. Hell, you know what? He might have been doing laundry, for God's sakes. And he was parking there, and he just loaded his crap up, and the opportunity sprung upon him. Probably not, but I'm just saying. There's so many, maybe this, maybe that. We never get to know.
Trying to validate the information that comes through.
There's not enough information in this case for us to. We're just completely speculating on all that information. Like, the only thing that we know is that Amber was riding her bike. The guy was parked there, or he was driving around, and he left, and he came and parked there. Then he got out of the driver's side of the car, went and abducted her, put her in the car. She was screaming. And then he drove out of the parking lot, took a left, and headed west. And then they found her body 3 days later. That's it.
There's been a large number of detectives over the years that have worked on this and working those tips. Members of the task force, members of the homicide unit, and members all over the country, other detectives around the country that have assisted. At this point, we have not
the spirit box
found the person that we believe can be charged with this offense. So we still think that the tip that's going to lead us there is still coming.
Do you want to answer that? Yes, the sex offender registry was around back then, and that was one of the things that we immediately looked into on the original task force. We sent teams of detectives to go out and contact every registered sex offender.
Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
Whereabouts
I don't believe-
when she was abducted. Back in
Oh, he said
1996. So yes, it
he
was
works at a
around, and we
barber
did look
shop.
into that extensively back then.
I want to say thank you for all of you being here today. Thank you for bringing this story to light again to the public. We really are praying hopes that someone will come forward today with additional leads to help us resolve this case, bring justice for Amber.
I heard that. I heard that. That's awesome. Yeah, that's it. Man, well, I hope they... It's interesting. I want to know. I keep telling you guys that they keep coming up with these DNA revolutions and at the FBI, and there's a new one that they're coming out with. That's what he was referring to. They just waited for it. They said maybe in February they'll be able to submit it. It's crazy, right? All right. So you guys remember, we're trying to get we're going to be funding, if, everything works out, that 1961 unidentified hitchhiker case. It's not a murder or anything, but it'd be really cool to identify that person. And so I got an email from Colleen a couple days ago. It said, UNT, I think that's the place. I don't know if that's who has the bones at this point, but came back to me that when they did their DNA extraction a couple of years ago, they were unable to obtain any DNA from John Doe 1961. But there are a couple of more advanced techniques we could try, she said. Are you guys paying attention? We go, one of them is called Tissuelizer. So she's actually telling me to say, listen to that one. One of these is called Tissuelizer, offered by Intermountain Forensics. One of the first steps in DNA extraction involves putting bone in a machine that pulverizes it into powder. This produces a lot more surface area so that it's easier for the extraction chemicals to get into the bone and pull out the DNA. However, this can damage the DNA somewhat. Well, hell, you guys got DNA out of formaldehyde, whatever the word is. Formaldehyde. What's the word? Shit, am I saying that right? My brain just doesn't sound like that sounds right. The way it was explained to me, Tissuelizer coats the DNA. It's cool that she sends emails like this that are detailed and really informative, right? The way it is explained to me, a Tissuelizer coats the DNA and protects it while the bone is being smashed around the machine to convert it to powder. So you get more DNA this way. The director of IMS suggested trying that first to see if we could do any better than UNT, and got enough for sequencing, considering the cost is about $360 to do the smashing, to do the Tissuelizer. If that doesn't work, we can go to Astria in Santa Clara, California. That's Ed Green's ancient DNA lab. He has a way of pulling out smaller bits of DNA and are characteristic of highly degraded samples, i.e. ancient DNA. That costs about $1,225. We could also just go to Astria directly. We still have to get the SNP data, either through the new Verigen kit or through the whole genome sequencing. That cost would be $1,500 to $1,850. First things first, with the bone extraction, there are a lot of sanity checks built into this. Let me know what you think. And I said, oh, sounds great. So there you go, everybody. So I'm really pumped to be able to do this. What do you mean, what crime is what? We were just talking about the Amber Hagerman case. And then right there, I just read an email about we're going to try to fund the identification of a hitchhiker that was killed in 1961. The driver didn't know, he lived, the driver, but he didn't know who the person was, and there was no identification on him. Apparently he came from, maybe he came from, like, he had cigarettes from South Carolina or something like that. And we're going to fund the identification. So when you guys send in the super chats and channel memberships and advertising revenue, I take a large chunk of that at the end of each month and donate it to charities. But we're going to store some of the charity this time to pay for these kinds of things. So last year we donated $22,000 to crime-related charities, and then I forwarded $1,000. So we into this year for DNA work, and you can see $1,000 would have covered a pretty good chunk of that. And if we need to put the money out before, I'll go into my PayPal account and pay for the whole whatever it's needed, and then I'll just have to take out of, on monthly basis a little bit. So we're still giving to charity, but I'll pay myself back for the DNA funding if I have to do it before we have the funds into an account. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So if we, like, what I'm saying is right now I have $1,000. If she goes, hey, we need $1,850, well, I'll put the $850, send it in, and then next month I'll take $850 out of whatever we were going to be donating to charity, and then put it back where it came from. Although I don't know if I'd need to do that, because I would just say, okay, $850 now went towards that fund. I don't have to give it back to me. Okay, that makes sense. All right. We'll just have this running fund going. Right now we have $1,000 in it. So awesome. There you go. So yeah, she's really cool. I'm gonna see if she wants. Maybe she can come on again pretty soon here. Chloe's so weird. She just does this thing where she spins around in circles. It's really weird. Have I solved? No. I haven't solved anything. What do you mean solved? I figured out what happened in cases, and it turns out it was right, but we're just raising, basically, if you have a channel and you try to pretend that you're actually, you're out in the field and you're going to go and make the arrests and all that kind of stuff, that doesn't, nobody's doing that, okay? The best way we can do to help is to put awareness out there, and to donate to charities that actually, like, we donate. Last year was like, I don't have the numbers on the screen anymore, but it was $22,000 total. But the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children we gave a lot of money to, the DNA Doe Project, Innocence Project, Kyron Horman Foundation, all kinds of different stuff. Yeah, so. Yeah, we try to make a difference. I guess that's, a little bit different on this channel, I guess. But yeah. What do you guys want to do? Like a little 30 minutes of newspapers.com. All right. All right. But let's look up stuff from like 1960 to 1970, okay? I want to find like something that, is probably going to be unsolved today. Usually if you type in nude body found, you come up with some crazy crap. Okay? Because there's only one reason most of the time that somebody's body's nude and then they're dead, and then those people are usually the ones that create the cold cases. The shootings are solved a little bit more often just because there's some kind of a forensic lead there. Nah, no. See, that's too specific when you type like that. I'm going to do nude body found and then type in 1960, 1970, and what's a good state? Yeah. I'll try your Illinois state, though. How about that? Illinois. Nice. 1965. Wow, that's a weird one. You don't see that too often. The body of an almost nude 76-year-old St. Louis woman was found lying face down in a water-filled ditch Monday near a recreation area on the Mississippi River. She was Tilly Underberg. There were no signs of foul play. Let me just type that. Hold on a second. Yeah. We stumbled upon a weird one right off the bat. Probe started into strange death of aged nude woman. An investigation opened today in the death of a 76-year-old St. Louis woman whose body was found Monday floating... Hold on. Before we even go there, watch this. Murder of Tilly Underberg. Did I spell that right? Alright, let me go back to that. There are still a lot of unanswered questions. Okay, the nude body of Miss Tilly Underberg of 3939 North 19th Street was discovered in a ditch. I don't know. I think there's foul play here. What do you guys think? Along a road to the Alta Villa Harbor, a recreation area. There are still a lot of unanswered questions in her death, he said. We don't know how she got there or when. No signs of foul play were detected in the investigation. Let's see. Well, I'm going to make a new tier. I'm making 2 new tiers coming up, but I'm going to get rid of tier 1, by the way. The one that's $1.99. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm trying, like, I try to raise funds here. And the problem is everyone just sort of, not everyone, but most people just click on that right away. And I think what will happen is I'll lose the number of channel members, but, you know, it still might bring in more income, and then forever there won't be that lower. You know, I mean, I feel weird about it, but at the same time, it's weird. It's like there's 250 in there and then 50-50, you know. I did a show on it. It's going to be next month, though. Yeah, no, it's cool. All right, Miss Underberg's body was nude except for shoes and socks. Wow. We are searching today for her clothes, he said. She was last seen by friends about 4 p.m. Saturday, the coroner reported. He said an inquest is pending. All right, so this is the 23rd. 23rd. Ah, shit. Did you guys not ever talk about her again? That sucks. God. See, oh, yeah, that's not even her there. So you got that one. Let me try one other place here. I actually have that website that Colleen mentioned called, I think it's Family History, and I think that's it. Hold on. Yeah, right there. So let me try that one. Tilly Underberg. And that's what is it, 1963? 5. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Trace elements. Right, exactly. So this is in Illinois, right? Okay, I think this should be enough. No, nothing. Jesus. Horrible. Wow. Poor Tilly. Or maybe did I spell Underberg right? Was it U-R-G at the end? Thanks, Kevin Brown. Yeah, things are going good. Well, they're not nothing nobody. I mean, I don't think of it like that. Nothing nobody tier. Jeez. Yeah, it's gonna have. I'm gonna have NN for the. Jeez. So let me just make sure I spelled her name right. Yeah, Underberg. She never showed up again after that. That's sad. How about a nude woman was reported on the crab orchard. I guess she wasn't dead on that one. Okay, go ahead. What do you guys want to do? Give me something. But let's do between 1960 and 1970. Just type in something about a crime, not really specific, with the the city and the state and everything, just boom. You want your own tier by yourself? Yeah, I'll make a tier just for you, and there's only one person that can be in it. No, you don't have to put 1969. Just put. Of course, you picked that year, though, right? I'm going to say body and school bus. Those are boring ones. So. Let me put that in there. It's going to be only a tier for trace elements. It's called the Nothing Nobody tier, $8, and it'll have one person in it. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. Boring. All right. I think this one might have, right here. Relates to bodies in schoolhouse doors. I don't know what that means. Nothing's just popping right up. What's next? What else you got? Okay, I'll try that one. Bizarre murder scene. Well, shows up in a movie advertising. What's this one? Bizarre note left at murder scene. Hey, here we go. This is 1970. I wonder if this is one of the famous killings, you know. This might even be the, what's his name? The Zodiac killer, right? I mean, a bizarre declaration of war note left at a home where 5 persons... Oh, that's probably the Manson family, then. This is I think this is in Santa Cruz, California. Does that make sense? The note said, Knight of Wands, Knight of Cups. Let's see. Knight of Wands, Knight of Cups. Knight of Wands, Knight of Cups. Oh, that's from tarot cards. Oh, that's weird. Oh, it says associated with witchcraft. Let me see. A bizarre declaration of war note left at a home where 5 persons were slain threatens death to anyone who misuses the natural environment. The typewritten note signed with the name of the 4 knights are fortune-telling tarot cards. Oh, it says it right there. Tarot cards said future killings would be carried out by the people of the free universe. Disclosing the note Wednesday, 2 days after the slaying of wealthy eye surgeon Dr. Victor Oda and 4 others, Under Sheriff Paul W. Terra urged the community 100 miles south of San Francisco to remain calm. We have to keep our cool. Let me get this other guy, Dr. That should be really easy. That's an unusual name. So let me type it in. Murder of Dr. Victor M. Wow. So I think this is the killer right here. Oh, look it. Even has it right there. John Lindsay Fraser, known as the Killer Prophet, was an American mass murderer who killed 5 people in Santa Cruz, California. The case was subject of a 2017 episode of Investigative Discovery, A Crime to Remember. John Lindley Fraser was born in Ohio in 1946, January 26th. Following a car accident in the late 1960s, he became a religious fanatic who spent days with his Bible and believed the voice of God was telling him to commit homicides. On October 19, 1970, Fraser entered the home of ophthalmologist Victor Oda. He found Oda and his wife, 2 sons, and secretary there in a delusional fit, believing he was an agent of God. Wow, sounds like her and Lori and Chad would have all gotten along pretty good. He bound their hands with colorful scarves, shot the 5 of them dead, and put their bodies in the home swimming pool. After the killings, Fraser typed a note on a typewriter owned by Oda, which he left on the window of his Rolls Royce. The note read, Halloween 1970. Today, World War III will begin, as brought to you by the people of the free universe. From this day forward, anyone and or everyone or company of persons who misuse the natural environment or destroys same will suffer the penalty of death by the people of the free universe. I and my comrades, which are none, from this day forth will fight until death or freedom against anyone who does not support natural life on this planet. Materialism must die. Sounds like he did a few hits of acid. We need delusional lucidity to come in here and break that down for us. Yeah, there's a lot of the bodies found in cemetery ones. Think of something, usually where do you find a body? Basically, if we typed in this, watch this one. Mushroom hunter finds body. Okay? Now, this is, even though this is 1960, 1970, they've been finding bodies for years. And that's exactly why I say that they should actually have presentations given to mushroom hunters about what to look for and how to preserve the crime scene when they get upon it. Because and give them badges too, like, hey, I'm a mushroom hunter, but I also have the forensic. All right, so here we go, 1966. And maybe even give some lectures to hunters as well. Mushroom hunters, though, are particularly good at finding bodies. Imagine if there was more mushroom hunters, how many bodies would be found? Because they find bodies at almost at the same rate sometimes, it seems, as hunters, but there's a hell of a lot more hunters than mushroom hunters, and the reason is because they're always looking down on the ground. Okay? Mushroom hunters look down the whole time they're walking, where hunters don't do that. They look out and sometimes look down. They have to kind of stumble upon it, where a hunter literally just, oh, wow, look at that. There's a hand sticking out of the ground right next to that mushroom. Let's see. The body of a woman was found by a mushroom hunter yesterday, about 450 feet east of 145th Street and Ridgeland Avenue in Bachelor Grove, west of Midlothian. It was the third body of a black woman found in Cook County Forest Preserve this summer. The body naked except for green bracelet on the left wrist. It's weird, that sort of sounds like the other one. Where was that? Hold on a second. Well, that's Michigan. The girl that was the Jane Doe that they're trying to figure out that we talked about earlier was in Michigan. That's not far away from there. Just right there. Illinois, Michigan. That's interesting. It sounds so similar to that one, though, doesn't it? It was the third body of a black woman found in Cook County. I hate that word, though, when they put it in these articles. It's in the article, everybody. Sorry. The body, naked except for a green bracelet on the left wrist and a yellow metal shamrock on a chain around the neck, was tentatively identified from papers in a nearby purse as that of Audrey Ellis, 19. Detective William Mitchell of Homewood Sheriff's Police said the body was discovered by Richard Kropak. Okay, so her name is Audrey Ellis. Okay, let me Audry Ellis. Oh, yeah, so she's... Why could it not be in there? I just showed you one. Oh, is it not in that state? Yeah, it's in Illinois. I wonder how it didn't find it. It's right there. Didn't even find itself. Okay, so it found itself. That's the 6th, 7th. Identified the dead girl as her daughter, Audrey Ellis, 19. The body naked except for a green bracelet on the left wrist and a yellow metal shamrock on a chain around the neck was found Monday in Bachelor Grove, 145 Street and Ridgeland Avenue. Let's see if there's any more. So 7. September. This is 67. Is this the same? And no. See, yeah, well, that's what I'm so frustrated. You know, if that was a blonde girl, you'd have 47 freaking days in a row of coverage and every newspaper, but it wasn't. So you had 2 little short clips and boom, we're out. Doesn't that piss you off, everybody? Okay, here's one in Ohio. A Springfield couple hunting mushrooms on the Glenhelm Forest Preserve found the body of a young woman today. No identification was found. Authorities said a quantity of medicine was found near the body, so that's probably more likely a suicide. Let's see. Wow, in Ohio again, another body found by mushroom hunters. See, that's what I'm telling you, man. It's crazy. Hey, Robin Frost. A mushroom hunter wandering along the Hocking River south of here Sunday discovered the badly decomposed body of a man who may be a Lancaster resident, missing since March 21st. Highway patrolmen, state investigators, and FBI agents looked at the body at the scene and ordered it taken to Columbus for an autopsy. Authorities said the body had about the same measurements as those of David Lance Fale, 46, who disappeared from his Lancaster home on March 21st. Said he'd been dead for several weeks. So let's see, David Lance Fale. The autopsy conducted at the university was ordered. Body was discovered by 2 men hunting mushrooms. Officials at University Hospital today said that autopsy has been completed, but conclusions are still pending. Fale, a World War II veteran, is survived by a daughter, Miss Harry Gearhart. I wonder what happened. Maybe he took his own life. Probably, there's a lot of PTSD there. You know what's crazy is, there's very few people. How many people are still alive that were in World War II at this point? You'd have to be, I bet you there's still in the thousands, but we're getting down there, right? Because people that were in World War II, if you think about it, let's say it was even the later World War II, like 45, you could say 44 ish, that's going to be 74 years ago, just straight up 74 years, right? And you're like 18, you're going to be 93 to 100 and something, so you're going to be definitely in your 90s if you fought in World War II. And so I don't know how many are left. I wonder if I think it would have been cool if they'd been doing this. Hopefully they have been. But they should have been having videographers go around the country for years and interview all the surviving World War II veterans just to have their story told of what they remember and what they did. And then you'd have that all on video. Hopefully they do that. Yeah. The weird part is sometimes you can find instances where there's I think the last World War I veteran died not too long ago, which is crazy, right? But let's see. Last World War I veteran died. Yeah, so it was I guess he was the last living one. Frank Woodruff Buckles, the last living American veteran of World War I, died on Saturday, February 27th, 3 weeks after celebrating his 110th birthday. And this was written, there it is, 2011. So not that long ago. Isn't that crazy though? Like, what's weird about it to me is in 2011, which isn't really that long ago, somebody could have sat down with this guy and talked about World War I. That's crazy. I mean, before actual... I mean, it's unbelievable. Oh, and here's the thing is, so it's 2011. That's right. So World War I was like 1917 or something? Or I can't remember the years of that one. I think it's something like that. 1917 and 18, maybe. Yeah. I have this book that's really, it's for a forensic book that costs like $150. You know what I should do is learn each segments and then have, discuss those portions on the show. So then we all know those and we can apply those in the future to different cases. Maybe like once a week or something. Would that be interesting? No, I thought they said this guy was. What? February 12th. Maybe that's a different guy than the guy that we were just looking at. Because right here there's a list of... Oh yeah, look at that. This has all the records. Frank Buckles there. But then there's his other ones that you see here. Oh, there you go. Oh, okay, that was the last American, but there's a United Kingdom, Florence Green, 110 also. So there was still a few in 2008-ish, around that time, people living. Okay, one more mushroom hunter. Ding, 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 up! Yeah, maybe there isn't. I think that's the one we found earlier. Yeah, Chicago there. Ah, hell, I can't find it anymore. I'm pooped. It was a long day, getting all that stuff together. And then the Blazer game went too long, and poor me. Cry me a river, they say. Anyways, I hope you guys found that interesting show, at least. Got to cover some cases, and... So these are my new sound effects, right? This one's for... toxic waste, or like I was going to use that when somebody mentions, if you mention Chris Watts, you get that one. Whoa. And if you say something really interesting, that's what you get for that one. Whoa. And then I think I actually might make my own you know, what do you call them? The gifts for the super chats. You know, I'll just do my own goofy stuff, you know. You know? Like my emotions, like, crap, you know, and just... Don't you think that'd be kind of funny? I don't know. Well, thanks, Carolina Carla. Glad you broke that for me. Although I kind of like the dancing baby one. I gotta leave that. The one with the bear, I kind of like that one. The other ones, I don't care about that much. Oh, you mean this one right here? Oh, this one. You mean the toxic one, trace elements? I don't know why I love that sound effect, though. You guys just like staring at a screen like that? With nothing on it? How's well, I wonder, I haven't seen Susanna tonight. I wonder how she's doing. She was kind of sick the other night. I think we saw her since then, though, right? Yeah. Well, what I could do is put on that Chewbacca mask that I've got that Kubi told me about. And then I could put it on and then do an animation with that sucker, right? And then that would be the sound effect, not the music anymore. It would just be the whole Chewbacca. I think that'd be pretty cool. What do you think? Yeah.
Chewbacca? I'll be Chewbacca if you want me to.
Okay, alright, cool. Well, Kyra's not here, so how would he be in it? I'm not sure what you're talking about. I think I'm going to have that sound effect just for Zozo. This one right here. There we go. All right, everybody. Well, thank you all for showing up tonight. And wait, what was that again, Zozo? Whoa. Yee-hoo! Boom! That's awesome. Yeah, that would be a cool ringtone, wouldn't it? The I'm not sure how you make that sound. Chewbacca? I'll be Chewbacca if you want me to be. Yeah, she's had a couple of cold ones. I'm just kidding, Zozo. Don't feel bad. Got to get you back for putting Zach Barnes on your name for a couple hours. Whew. Wow. So if you're still out watching, make sure to hit that like button. I'm fired out of it now. Hit the like button, 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 30. You want to put 30, sir? 25, bam, you're out. I'm 25, 30, 30, now 5, I'm 35. All right, so hey, Trace Elements, she's going to be doing it again. Right? She's going to be Mary Lou, are you gonna sing that again for us?
I sure will.
Okay, cool. So Mary Lou's gonna do your rap again. All right. So make sure that you guys wear your masks, maintain your social distancing, and wash your hands every damn second. I don't care if your fingers look like prunes. I mean, as a matter of fact, I would wear gloves that are filled with hand sanitizer. I'm just joking. So there you go, everybody. Make sure you wear your mask, maintain your social distancing, wash your hands. We'll be back on tomorrow. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. We've got the
Kevin Brown, Claudia Neubauer, Maggie Kim, Carolina Carla, Lee D, Michelle Miklas, Liz Parsons, Carolina Carla, Brianna, CSI, Simeon, Gene Fish. Oh man. Kevin Brown, Serena, Kevin Brown again, Jessica Schubach. Okay.
Oh man, got a little bout of the sneezing. Shit. So thank you guys. We'll see you guys a little later. Hold on one second.
Thanks for the laughs, Gray.
Shit. I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, like rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Gray is gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've attempted to fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody?
Hey, man, that was really cool. Cool show, Gray.
Yeah, great, cool show.
Good night, Mary Lou.
Good night, John Boy.
Hey, can I do a rap? The other rap?
I guess so. Why are you asking me?
I don't know. I'll just do it. Sprinkle troll on my food, but I don't eat it. I chew it up and spit it out and repeat it. It's not a treat, the troll is beat. Just one of the ways that I defeat it. Staying in my groove when there's a troll on the move. Just takes a second to remove, cause every time I conclude, the troll is gonna lose. Nice try, visit I see you creeping on the sly. Why you think you so fly when you're just a whine cry? Battle me, you're gonna fry. Gonna send you out to mummify. Time to say goodbye. Hey, there's Trace Elements. She's the one that wrote that.
Hey, what about me? Can I do it too? Oh boy. Let me try it. Here we go. And listen, when I'm in the mood...
Gosh, you suck, John Boy. Try it again.
Okay.
Are you gonna start it or what?
Oh, right now? Okay. When I'm in the mood, I sprinkle troll on my food, but I don't need it.
I chew it up and spit it out and repeat it.
It's not a treat.
The troll is beat.
just one of the ways that I defeat it.
Staying in my groove when there's a troll on the move just takes a second to remove, cause every time I conclude the troll is gonna lose.
Nice try, Lizard Eye.
I see you creeping on the sly. Why you think you so fly?
When you're just a whiny cry.
Battle me, you're gonna fry. Gonna send you out to nullify.
Time to say goodbye. Hey, Mary Lou, that was kind of fun.
Hey, you weren't too bad, John Boy, on that one. You're not very good at it, but at least you hit the beats.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much.
You been missing out, trace elements? That's right. Just a whiny. Nice try, Lizard Eye. I see you creeping on the sly. Why you think you so fly when you get the whiny cry? Was it supposed to be such? I'll fix that on your such. That sounds better. You put just, though. Such a whiny cry. I like that one. Nice try, Lizard Eye. I see you creeping on the sly. Why you think you so fly when you're such a whiny cry? Battle me, you're gonna fry. Hey, that's better. I like it.
Yeah. Well, your lyrics had something different.
Here's a little story that I got to tell about three bad brothers you know so well. Started way back in history when I lost the gang and me mighty. The son of the rehearse. 4 days on the run and now he's dying of thirst. The brew was on my hand and he was on my tip. His voice was so right, asked me for a sip. He's like a son. I said you can get none. He asked him to run. He pulled out a shotgun. Quick on the drill. I thought I'd be dead. He put the gun to my head and this is what he said. Yeah, I've got that. I've got that part. I've got that part, trace elements, it's in there. Why you think you're so fly when you're just a white? Wait. Such a whiny. So you had just in the actual script. Why you think you're so fly when you're such a whiny cry? Battle me, you're gonna fry. Gonna send you out to mollify. Time to say goodbye. Okay, I'm gonna do it one more time. When I'm in the mood, I sprinkle troll on my food, but I don't eat it. I chew it up and spit it out and repeat it. It's not a treat, the troll is beat. Just one of the ways that I defeat it. Staying in my groove, when there's a troll on the move. Just takes a second to remove, cause every time I conclude, the troll is gonna lose. Nice try, Lizard Eye, I see you creeping on the sly. Why you think you're so fly, when you're such a whiny cry? Battle me, you're gonna fry. Gonna send you out to mummify. Time to say goodbye. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. From here. That's right. Yeah, get a mummy, get a mummy, Gray.
You mean like a mummy emoji?
Yeah, like a mummy emoji.
Well, how come you repeated exactly what I said?
I don't know.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much for showing up tonight. Good to see you again, Trace Elements 13. Great to see all of you guys that are always here every single night. It's awesome. Thank you very much. And we will see you guys tomorrow. Don't be a whiny cry. All right. See you guys later. Have a good one.
Hey, what about me? Bye.
Oh, I can say goodbye too.
Okay, say goodbye then, you idiot.
Don't call me an idiot.
Are you crying, Gene?